I'd like to share with you my experience with the United Way, and in order to do that I have to go back to about 2005. One morning I was at a welfare office, and they have resource centers there where you can use the phone and the computer, etc. And the lady who ran that resource center, she pulled me aside and said, "Hey, listen, you went to George Brown Cooking School. You might be interested in a baker's apprentice job at a place called St. John's Bakery." So she gave me the phone number, and I hemmed and hawed for a couple months, but finally I called them up. And I found out that they offer a 6-month probationary period, and after that there was an opportunity to get a job. And the good news about that was that I was on welfare at the time, and you could have used a job. So I signed up, did the 6 months, and the day after the 6 months was up, they hired me at that bakery, and all of a sudden I had a great opportunity to develop a new skill. Everybody would win in this deal. The social services people would be happy that I wasn't sitting at home collecting a check. The bakery gets an extra pair of hands to build the bread, and I learn a new career. After the 6-month probationary period was over, they hired me, and that was really great. And unfortunately, there was a problem, and the problem turned out to be me. At that time in my life, I refused to put down the crack pipe and pick up the oven mitts, and after a couple of months of employment, they fired me. Now, you got to be doing something pretty wrong to get fired from a place called St. John the Compassionate Mission. But out the door I went, and with these few words from the manager, he said, "If you decide to clean up your act, give us a call once a month, and we'll maybe take a second look at you." So back out in the streets I went, and if you know the corner of Dundas and Sherburne, oh my God, smoking crack all night in the laneways, waiting for the liquor store to open. What a horrible memory. But finally, in the summer of 2005, I had enough. I turned myself into CAMH, the Center for Addiction and Mental Health, and they dried me out, and that was a good move. Problem was, I didn't have a home, so I moved into a place called Transition House up on Madison Avenue, and it's a men's residence for guys with addiction and mental health issues. They have a 90-day program, and you couldn't stay in the house and sit around all day. You had to be out between 9 and 4. And that sort of reminded me of having a job. Now, I had been involved with the cocaine and the crack situation for 25 years, so I was a hardcore dude. But I decided that I needed to do some research about my problem, so every day between 9 and 4 I'd go to the reference library and I'd research the issue that I had, and I found myself in those books in the library. As my 90 days was coming to an end at Transition House, I called the bakery, and lo and behold, they had me come in for a meeting, and in late September 2005, they hired me back, and I spent the next 7 years there. So that second chance was a really great opportunity. When I moved out of Transition House, it was to a new part of town called the Beach. And I'd never lived there before, and I didn't know anybody, so that was a good move, because my addiction doctor suggested don't move back to the part of town where you were using, because all the party pals and gals will still be around, and the temptation will be so much greater to use again. So I move out to the Beach, and I look across the street from where I'm living, and there's this place called the Beach's Recreation Center. And then I remember the addiction doctor had told me, start doing things that non-addicted people do. So I joined the gym. I went 300 times the first year. And that was a great breakthrough for me to finally start doing something healthy. I got my job back at the bakery in late September. I moved to the Beach. I started working out, and I started volunteering because the United Way came calling all of a sudden. They wanted to hear my story. Lo and behold, what I didn't know at the time of my early recovery was that Transition House and the bakery and St. Stephen's House, where I did relapse prevention program in Kensington Market, were all being funded by, guess who? The United Way. So my life changed dramatically, and it directly related to the funding that United Way gave to those 3 locations. Not only did I get help with recovery, but I had a roof over my head and I had food. So I was very happy. About 4 years later, all of a sudden, the manager who runs the Beach's Recreation Center said, "Hey, listen, we have a job opening. It's once a week on a Wednesday at 4 o'clock. It's teaching children how to cook." Well, I'd never worked with children before in my life, but I thought it'd be a good challenge for me. Well, that 1-hour class a week has now turned into 7 classes a week, an adult cooking class on Saturday morning, and 11 weeks of cooking camp every year. And right now I'm in the middle of my summer cooking camp, and that's 20 kids a day for 7 hours. Yikes. Anyway, my life's changed so much. I'm very grateful to all the donors who donated money to United Way over all those years ago for me. and I really benefited. I know there's other people out there who need the same assistance I received, so please continue to donate to United Way. I'd like to thank you very much for the donations you've given in the past and the ones you're about to give in the future. Thank you very much.